Awesome. So we have Josh from EOS Canada, been working on the worker proposal for quite a long time and many other projects. But I'll let you introduce yourself for a little bit, and then you could go straight to the presentation right after. Thanks so much, Josh.
Great. Thanks a lot for organizing this. It's great. I've been watching it a lot last night and a lot this morning, so I'm really looking forward to catching up on all the talks I missed. So I'll talk about the worker proposal system. There's been a small working group that's been working on it for the past 2 to 3 months now. If you haven't seen David Margulies' conference talk that he did, check out, I think it was number 12 within the EOS Ignite conference schedule. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And I'll show you guys a little presentation that I put together that basically shows what we're looking to propose. So I'm just going to start up the screen share right now. Oh, infinite regressions. There we go. Okay. All right, so this is what we currently have. Actually, I'm just going to double check, make sure. If someone sees this on the screen, just make sure, please just say, yeah, you see it.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Excellent, great, thank you guys. All right, so currently we have the EOSIO system that's running, and it generates 4% inflation into an account called the EOSIO.saving. That's currently what is there. So the working group is trying to propose some new additions to this, and I'm going to walk you through those additions. So the first thing we want to do is add a new account called EOSIO.WPS. 2 reasons for this in my mind. One is there's going to be this constant 4% flow into this account, and we want to segregate ourselves away from that. The reason being is if something goes wrong or we want to scrap the whole idea, it's a lot easier to do with a new account that we create rather than playing around with a large fund. If you check on any block explorer, I think there's roughly 6 million tokens in that account right now. So there's a lot of tokens there, and we should kind of limit ourselves in case there's an issue. So what we propose is to create the WPS account, move 1 million tokens into that account, then the remaining balance, let's burn it. This way, we kind of start from fresh with the EOSIO.saving, and we still have the 1 million tokens that we can actually use. But the goal is to not use the 1 million tokens. It's just a hard cap that we set for ourselves. The rest are going to this burn account, or if the retire function that's come out from block 1 is well tested, we can retire those tokens if the community wants to do so. We propose that we shouldn't fully retire tokens until the community says that we should. So this way it's segregated and they're destined to be used for whatever the community sees fit. The next thing we would like to do once that is set up is we have an emergency committee that's created. A committee is basically formed by, at this moment, we're saying 7 members that would be put in place on an interim basis, and they would basically oversee the first emergency proposals. Those include things like funding for ECAF, funding for the GitHub repo management, funding for security testing and security audits, so hiring a third party, paying maybe a group of block producers to run a test net and test the patches as they come out from block 1. So it's one thing to pay for a security audit of the existing code base. We want to make sure that we're continuously upgrading, continuously checking new updates that come out from block 1. Yesterday, I think there was 2 updates that came out within a few hours of each other. So it's a pretty rapid pace, and we need to make sure that we're on top of this as a community. So once that's set up and running, the next goal will be for the emergency committee to oversee 5 other committees that can be developed. The way that these other committees will be developed will be through competition. So the 5 committees will be infrastructure, oversight, community, development, and a miscellaneous one. Now, if we were to look at, let's say, just infrastructure, the way that that would come in is we would hope to see quite a few different governance systems being proposed, quite a few different teams being proposed to run that committee, different ways of putting people onto that committee board, because we don't propose to have the right answer for everything. There's going to be a different way to go about doing something for infrastructure than there would be for community. Maybe it needs a smaller board, maybe it needs a bigger board, maybe a board isn't the right system for them, and we can't propose to say that we have a one-size-fits-all solution for that. So yeah, as I said, emergency will basically oversee the development of all of these committees. And at which point, once that is completed, emergency committee should be scrapped. Um, Also, the outflows of tokens from ESIO.WPS to the oversight committee, the development committee, and all the committees that will pop up, we're proposing to cap that at 10% of what sits within WPS. The reason being is we want to make sure that no committee can actually go that no committee can far exceed their mandates by grabbing tokens. If there's, let's say, 900,000 tokens still in WPS, we don't want oversight or community to have access to that full amount until such a time that the community itself says yes, they should, or they need access to more. We're going to find out over time what is needed. I think we should start small and iterate from there. So as I said, we hope to see different proposals coming out within each committee. So oversight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many that can come up, because we want this to be a decentralized endeavor. We don't want to be the ones who put something in place and have it be accepted. That's pretty dangerous in my view. We want to make sure that the entire community has proper input and has choice to make as well. And then the end goal would then have the the EOSIO system running. It funds the .saving account, 4%. It then will fund from there the WPS account, and then all into the different ones. There's room for other ones. We don't know that this is the 5 that will handle everything. We might see a lot of different proposals that are grouped together within the miscellaneous group, and maybe we have to make a new one. Something that comes to mind for me would be sort of a help desk. I think we need a place for new users to go and be able to ask questions, figure out issues they've had with wallets, resolved lost keys or things like that. And that's just one thing that could pop out, and it may not. We don't know. We'll just have to see. The whole reason is that we just don't know at this point, and we can't say that we do know what will happen. Another thing that gets brought up a lot in terms of WPS is the idea that the 4% going from ESIO into ESIO.saving is too high. Right now, the WPS group, the working group that's running, we don't believe we are the right people to answer this question, and nor should we try to answer that question. We want to leave that up for the community, which is why we have 1 million tokens being moved. Why we want to have 1 million tokens moved into this new account that we would create, just to say, hey, that's an issue we need to solve. Let's make sure we have the proper input from the community to solve that first. So that's the presentation. Just want to see if anyone has any questions. Sorry, I see can a poll for those in favor of this idea referring to this new WPF? Oh, I'm not sure how to make a poll. I guess John could do that.
Yeah, so let me try to make a poll. So let me make sure I understand. So can okay, so yes or no on this new WPF system. Okay, do you like this new WPF system? I'll just put yes or no. Yes, no, maybe. Yes, no. Oh, whoops, and maybe. So there's a way to do polls here. So and yeah, so people are actually voting. So not a whole lot of people have voted so far, but if you 3 yes, 1 no, someone's changing their votes too. So okay, this is not on the blockchain, so. And
nothing's official. It's a good place to get a little bit of community sentiment and buy-in, or not.
Yeah. So, but it looks good. I think in terms of, for me, at least the presentation was clear. In terms of understanding it, I think your PowerPoint was great.
Thank you. I'm not very good at making slides, so they look a little 6th grade, but I just wanted to throw something up there to make it more clear.
All right. So do we have any more questions for Josh?
So David Margulies, I see you keep saying fix the word committee. The word committee or category, I say committee. It's probably not the best word for it. So he's basically saying use categories. So infrastructure would be a category, community would be a category. Thank you, David.
All right. Where can we stay up to date?
Best place to go for more info is on Telegram. There's a WPS group. Right after I get off, I'll post that the link inside the troll box here. Also, if you want to reach out to me, I'm at Josh Kauff, Kauff, on Telegram as well. I'm on, too often, 24 hours a day. You can reach me. Oh, I see someone has already posted the link. Thank you very much, EOS Watchdogs. So yeah, great place to ping us. Great people to ping if you have any questions. Myself, David Margulies, Brandon Espinoza, Todor, Thomas Cox, Orchid. I'm sure I'm leaving some people off the list, but it's a constant work, and it's good. We've been doing about 10 hours a week for the last 2-3 months on it, and really putting in the time. And I personally think the system we have right now is a very good proposal. I think it would work, and it also within the system has a way to basically cancel itself out. That's very important. Whenever a proposal goes forth, has to have a way for the community to say, hey, we don't want this anymore, or it's not working. Let's get rid of it. And another way for them to say, hey, it's working great. Let's continue. Let's grow it. Let's iterate from there.
Yeah, we do have another question here. I just noticed from Kevin Rose, EOS New York. What research, if any, has gone into BitShares or Dash and their inflation-driven funds aimed at improving the networks? And have we learned from them?
So I've posted on EOS Go. I'll grab the link as well. I did a little study into the Dash system. One of the main things I saw from Dash is, actually the first thing I should note between Dash and EOS is that EOS is a fully fledged ecosystem. Dash is just a token. So there's not much in terms of big development that can happen, just in terms of what they need versus what we would need as a system. So it's on EOS Go. I did a little deep dive into there. One of the main takeaways I saw is that they use right now around 2 million of the roughly $6 million a month that they could be spending. That number might have changed now based on the token price, but they basically have an up to amount per month they could be using. And they use a fraction of that. I think we're going to see a major, like a really small fraction as well of what we have available. 4% I don't think will ever be spent. I would be very surprised. I could be wrong, but I would be very, very surprised. So that being said, people keep saying, 4% inflation eats away at the value. It's too much money. Why is someone controlling it? A $500 million fund. I just don't think that's ever going to be the case. I don't think we're ever going to see $500 million being deployed. Or if we do, it's going to be for a very good reason. And I think it's going to take a lot of community buy-in. So I think from that standpoint, the big takeaway is that we're going to see a very minor fraction of this money being spent. But again, if anyone has any interest in what the Dash system is doing, I'll post a link. And I think the pre-proposal system from Dash I really like, in terms of, hey, I have an idea. Let's put it by the community before we start voting on it. How should the idea be tweaked? Is this the right person for that idea? Is someone else better to execute on that idea? And how do we make sure that a proposal will pass or has a very high percentage likelihood of being passed, rather than someone saying, hey, I have a great idea and the community hates it. Let's make sure that they test out their question or their idea first. All right, so I guess I'll cede the rest of my time to getting this conference back on track. Thank you again for having me. And if anyone has any questions, feel free again to reach out on Telegram. I'll post a couple of links in a second right after I pass on the torch.
All right. Thanks so much, Josh. Great presentation.
Right. Thanks.
We'll see you out there in the community.